Justin, I mean, you had one of the biggest Sundance breakouts like of all time, really, with Dear White People
I
a few
did.
years ago.
Wow.
Seriously, you did.
You did.
I don't know of all time, but
Yeah.
okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
absolutely. And here you are again with this amazing film. Such a unique concept. How did you come up with this?
I don't know, man. I don't know. This one actually, I just sort of follow my obsessions down the rabbit hole. And this one began with some conversations about particularly a subgenre of like Korean horror films that deals with hair horror. I felt like that there was a uniquely American story in there. And I also I'm obsessed with the 70s and 80s sort of psychological, thriller, satirical mashups, the Brian De Palma movies and Body Snatchers and Rosemary's Baby and all those kind of movies. And I felt like, wow, I haven't really seen anything that's sort of pulling from all those different traditions, but is also black and is sort of using those sort of cinematic techniques to kind of interrogate and make us sort of look at the absurdities of, what black women specifically, but all marginalized people are sort of kind of put through. Yeah.
And what was it about the script that was like, I have to do this? Like when you read it, when you heard this concept, what was it like? I'm in.
Well, first off, it's a story that we as black women can relate to. We've all experienced versions of this, but also it's so incredibly layered. There's so much history in how Justin wrote the family dynamics and how the friendships are. I want to go with broken down, but also how many women support each other and how we a lot of times affect one another just by becoming more of ourselves or by assimilating, and how we bring others into that type of dynamic in order to succeed. So it was a beautiful story, and also it's something as an entertainer we relate to, I think, very easily. Or I'll speak for myself.
No. I think we've all had our own experiences of that, for sure.
And this is said at such a specific moment, 1989 in the world of music television. Why this milieu? Why music television, and why that particular moment?
Well, I thought 1989 would be a really interesting place to just set a movie. It lives sort of in the time period of the movies I'm inspired by to some degree. But most interestingly, it really, this is a movie about a killer weave. And just, spoiler alert, heads up. It's crazy. But the weave itself really kind of burst onto the national scene in 1989, specifically through the popularity of Janet Jackson and the Pleasure Principle video first, but then Rhythm Nation and all those amazing Ebony covers. And, I just thought it would be an interesting way to sort of look at ourselves, but through a kind of fantasy kind of lens. I think it's kind of easier sometimes to sort of digest some of this stuff if we can sort of be in a dream world. And I felt like I could make a dream world out of 1989.
And let's not forget, music and fashion in that time in black culture was just alive and thriving.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was just, I think, when it just really just became like rich, you know what I mean? This new generation and, new Jack Swing and like he said, Janet Jackson's hair, we were all trying to get that weave. I wasn't even old enough for that weave, but I wanted it. It's just fly.
Me too,
Super
a little
fly.
And I feel like who better to play that person or to embody that character than somebody like you.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thanks,
James
Justin.
was up for it, but
I got my role as a consolation. Yeah. I put myself on tape for your role.
No, but then you were like, I got the moves. And
Yeah.
you did Dancing with the Stars.
I had the moves.
he had the moves, man.
No, secretly, Elle knows all the moves.
It's
Elle
true.
knows all
It's
the
true.
moves.
Well, yeah, Kelly, I mean, with your background as an international superstar, I mean, what little details were you able to bring to the story, to the production from your own experience in the world of music television?
I mean, when Justin just told me the era, I already knew what that felt like, what the sound was like, and then to sing the lyrics, and he's like, no, this is all encompasses like what the horror of the film, as far as the hair is concerned. And you start listening to the songs closely, like, this is perfect with this scene. This is really creepy. And it worked. And it was really smart. It was really brilliant. And I remember, when I read the script, I was like, how is this going to happen, in real life? You know what I mean? Or in our horror real life.
Yes.
And I love the way it came together, and no film has been done like this, and it's one of its kind. It's a one of one, and I was completely beyond honored to be asked to be in this role.
It is original, man. There's nothing like it
Nothing like it.
out there.
Yeah.
You know, at IndieWire, like we're so into celebrating the below the line talent. You know, a lot of the craftspeople who are involved in really making a film sing. You know, really making it happen ultimately. And in this case, I mean, you have so many amazing like makeup effects, and you know, I mean, just with the killer weave. Justin and then you guys as well. Like, tell me, like, who were some craftspeople who were like behind the scenes who you need a shout out who might not have gotten one so far, and just bringing this vision to life.
So many. I mean, Scott Cuzio, our production designer, who sort of came to me with like photographs from the time period that just blew my mind, and I felt like he could really help us create a world. Ceci,
Yes.
single name.
Sassy.
She does the wardrobe for Dear White People, but also for Bad Hair, and just is.
Nailed it.
And I want all the clothes, and she
Yeah.
won't give them to me.
It's really great. Like, I even love how you're, in a subtle way, introduced to my character by her shoulder pad.
Yeah.
And I just think that's
Yes.
I just think that's brilliant. And like, you know, Justin and Ceci work together in such a magical way to come up with things like that. Nikki, who did hair, like I think, you know, putting on my wig every day was really a part of me getting into the character. And I just think everyone did a fantastic job to really make it feel like we were in 1989.
Yeah, I don't think
Yeah.
we can give both of them, Nikki Wright and Ceci, props enough.
No. Yeah.
It really, you know, we all do character work and we all know how to tap in whatever our process is, but putting on those clothes, getting the hair done just takes it to another level, and they really knocked it out of the park.
Yeah.
You did.
But it's very authentic. Like even like the graininess of the film. Like
Well, I was going to say Topher Osborne, who is our director of photography, really pushed to shoot this on 16 millimeter. And, you know, I have to say, like, not only did it really help ground the ridiculous horror elements of the film, but it also just sort of like the process of just shooting on film with a crew was. It was so tactile and real, and it just felt like we were really playing. And it was the version of movie making that I dreamed of as a kid, and really special. So.
And all the puppeteers.
Yes, that's right. Alterian Studios, and Tony and Ian, and a guy named Ian Slag that helped me with the storyboards. Chris Bowers did the music,
Yes.
And he's a genius, and it was just really a labor of love on all fronts.
I miss hearing checking the gate.
Wait. Okay, so can I tell a story nobody asked me to tell? So,
Please.
you know, that's an old school term from film, and we were shooting on film, and there was a moment where I was running late to a flight, and you know, they've been checking the gate the whole time and everything was fine, but there was so much hair in the movie. And there's one time I'm literally running out and they're like, checking the gate. Oh, there's some hair in there. We literally had to like pull the hair out and reshoot it.
There really was hair in the gate.
There was hair in the gate because we were working with so
Checking
much
the
as
gate.
like a, you know, one of the main characters as well is the hair. So that was incredible.
Oh my God, that's so awesome. So are all of you big horror fans?
I enjoy horror. I'm scared out of my pants every time I watch a horror movie, but I'm really into it.
I love psychological thrillers.
Yeah.
facts.
Yeah, suspense, psychological thriller. I can't do Halloween. I can't do Saw. Like that kind of.
Yeah.
A Quiet Place. That's like more my speed.
Yeah.
Like keep me like shook the whole time. But I just don't need slasher. Like
I want it all.
Yeah.
Give it all.
Yeah.
I love the really bonkers ones. Like my favorite is Halloween 3, which is like the Halloween that nobody really likes, but I love it. I love it because like you get through some really interesting performances, I'll say, and just the ending of that movie completely makes everything that you go through watching that movie worth it. I love the crazy Brian De Palma movies of the 80s. I mean, I love all of it. I think it's so fun, and I think it's like, you know, for a filmmaker, it's just like being a kid in a candy store. It's like you can kind of do anything because you're dealing with the subconscious, and you're dealing with sort of giving an audience a ride, you know what I'm saying, and sort of slipping a bunch of things in there, and I just had a lot of fun with that.
But you know, with horror, you know, it's of all the genres, like maybe along with comedy, it's the one that like requires the most precision to really just land like perfectly. Like getting a scare out of someone is like similar to like getting a laugh out of them in a way. So I'm curious for like all of you, like what was the biggest challenge of making this movie? Like, was there something like, wow, this is really tough. I really need to find a way to fight through this and persevere.
Yes. Just yes.
1,000-mile stare, Justin.
Yeah. I was also like shooting the third season of my TV show at the same time we were doing well, I wasn't shooting, I was writing it. Same time we were shooting this movie. But it's an indie movie, We were on a budget. We had to finish these things in time, and we were creating effects that had never been created before. I mean, we were really trying to figure out how to get the hair to do things on camera in real time. And, sometimes it worked as planned and sometimes it didn't. And it didn't matter because it was still hot in that house and we still had to get out of there. And, and you just had to make it work. So there was a lot of real time figuring it out. At least that's what I felt on my end of it. That I put these people through.
It was worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.